We're talking about the Montana Mastermind epic camping adventure. And truly, this is where high performing, heart centered male entrepreneurs go to mix business with pleasure and digitally detox in nature's glory. We're going to dive right into this episode.
Do you want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Cary Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality.
Yee-yee! The Montana Mastermind epic camping adventure is where high performance male entrepreneurs go to mix business with pleasure and digitally detox in nature's glory. What's up, y'all? My name is Cary Jack, and I am a lifestyle entrepreneur and author and founder of The Happy Hustle. And I want to share with you about the Montana Mastermind epic camping adventure. So if you are a high-performing entrepreneur and you are craving the systematic harmonization of ambition and well-being, aka The Happy Hustle, well, then this is something you're going to want to listen to the end, because the Montana Mastermind Epic Camping Adventure is our flagship event. And this is how you can actually harmonize that ambition and well-being. So we're going to break down what the Montana Mastermind Epic Camping Adventure is. We call it MMECA. So I'll just call it that. We're going to talk about who it's for. We're going to go through the itinerary and programming, some FAQs, like questions that get asked often. So this is definitely for someone who is on the fence or considering going, or maybe you're a friend who, wants to send another friend this information that kind of keeps it all in one place so that you can make the best decision for you if this is something you're interested in. And then also, this could be for someone who wants to run masterminds or retreats or events themselves, because we're going to break down some of the nitty-gritty behind the scenes too. So if you're interested in that, I want to be a resource and share some of my mistakes, some stuff that I've learned, and also some of the stuff that I think we're doing quite well, and according to feedback, crushing it. So humbly stated, of course. All right, so let's break down what it is first and foremost. Okay, the Montana Mastermind Epic Camping Adventure. So let me give you quick context in terms of backstory. So I grew up in Montana. Actually, my mom lives in Florida. My dad lives in Montana. Or lived in Florida. My mom now lives in Guatemala. But I split time growing up, camping, fishing, hunting, hiking, cowboying, etc. in Montana on my father's ranch, and then half in Florida surfing and skating. And, it was a nice balance of these two geographic locations, but yeah, plenty of drama in between. Nonetheless, I love the woods, grew up out here packing, for 3 weeks at a time on horses and fly fishing and, bow hunting, etc. So I love it out here. And I've always had my colleagues, my entrepreneur friends want to come out and visit. So what happened was maybe 5 years ago now, around 2019, a bunch of entrepreneurs wanted to come out and visit at separate times. I was like, no, we got to just have everyone visit at the same time, and I'll take you in the woods. It just spitballed from there, honestly, and we just went camping in the woods. But it was a business mastermind, rest assured. Entrepreneurs can't turn it off anyway. They just obviously always are talking business and thinking, ideation and mastermind, etc. So we had this epic trip, and it just snowballed from there. Now, fast forward, we've been doing them, close to 5 years, and it's just one of the highlights of my life, because it's this safe container for high performing entrepreneurs to come together to support one another, both personally and professionally. So that's really the backstory. Now, how do we go about this? Well, really, guys fly in, and essentially we pick them up, and from the moment they get there, to get here to Montana to the time they leave, it's all on us. It's all included in the investment, food, lodging, transportation, mastermind, survival training, swag, fly fishing gear, all the stuff. It's just, set it and forget it. So the only decision you really have to make is, hey, am I going or am I not? And then when you get there, that's the last decision you really have to make. The rest is on us. And yeah, you just kind of, you know, let Jesus take the wheel, will you? Not Jesus, but anyway, that's the saying. So now that you get to Montana, we essentially, you know, go through a safety briefing, gear check, mastermind, fun activity, barbecue cookout, all that. Just Riverside Base Camp #1, and it's really just an awesome time to connect, introduce yourself to everyone. And you know, we go 0 to 100 real quick in terms of like becoming fast friends, because I have some fun activities and stuff that we do to break down the walls early. But then on the next day, we hike into the wilderness. You know, it's not a cakewalk. Typically, it's about 7 to 10 miles in, which takes us most of the day. uh, Guys will carry about 30 to 50 pounds of weight on their back, you know, tent, sleeping bag, clothes, etc. But we have horses that pack in most of the heavy gear, you know, food, stoves, group, you know, utilities, stuff like that. So you're hiking in with your stuff, horses carrying the heavy stuff, and we embark on this journey. Um, it's the real deal. There's mountain lion, moose, grizzly bears, black bears, wolves, you know, all sorts of wildlife that you potentially will see. And we treat safety as the #1 priority. So we're really making sure that everyone is safe and, you know, having the most amount of fun as possible, while still being very productive. Now, we do take everyone's phones, so there is no phones, there's no service anyway, but the goal is to completely digitally detox. So if you're in your tent late at night scrolling pictures, or, you know, like looking at apps that don't have service, which, you know, are like monkey brain, just results back to these behaviors, it's not going to serve you or the experience fully. So we take everyone's phones. Rest assured, again, I do have a sat phone, so I ping my wife once a day. I let her know that, you know, everyone is okay. She has an emergency contact list with all the group of you know, wives or whatnot, whoever, you know, these guys put down on the contact list will get a ping saying everyone's okay, and that's it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Apologies for interrupting your programming, but I have to tell you the best investment you can make in yourself is one in which helps you acquires skills. You've probably heard people talk about, oh, just invest in yourself and you'll be successful. Yes, that's true to a degree, but you have to invest in skills that will ultimately help you achieve your desired results. And I think one of the best skills one can possess, be it an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, is the sales sword. Really knowing how to sell, utilizing pressure free persuasion, which will make you more money and more impact. Now, if you want to know how to sell more efficiently and effectively, I just launched a sales course called The Proven Roadmap Process to Selling Millions of Dollars and helping you to increase your conversions guaranteed. And you can get access to this new sales course that the Happy Hustle is launching at thehappyhustle.com/sales. And if you act fast, you'll get it at the lowest price it'll ever be available, because we are launching it and we want to gain amazing testimonials and social proof to further share this knowledge. So if you act fast, you can get it at the lowest price it'll ever be. That's at thehappyhustle.com/sales. Now let's get back to this episode.
That's it. When we're out in the woods, the beautiful Alpine Lake, we hang out there from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to Saturday. And it's a structured yet flexible itinerary of, again, mixing business with pleasure. It is at its core a mastermind. And, you know, we are workshopping adversities, what's working personally and professionally. We're doing roundtable style where we really get into the nitty gritty of what might be holding you back as an entrepreneur, as a man, as a father, as a husband, as a man of God, as a servant to your community. And we also workshop how you can improve. Um, this is a very interesting container. I know I mentioned that word, and I do think, you know, there's nothing out there like it. In all the business circles that I've been in, I have been to many of conferences, and they're very transactional. Everyone is like, what can I get from this person or this experience? And it's like this taker mindset. And I do my best to vet everyone extensively. We have a no douchebag policy. If you come in with an ego, actually, if I get any whiff of an ego on just the application call, you're not coming. I don't accept those type of people. Bad apples they spoil the bunch. So obviously at our core, we all have some level of ego, and I do believe some of it's healthy. But if you're kind of a douche and you think you know everything, you ain't coming. It's just not worth it. So we have these really cool guys who come on these trips. A lot of these guys, everyone's doing minimum 6 figures net. Most 7, 8, some 9 figures. I mean, guys will legit fly in on their private jets. I'll pick them up from the airport, and they'll forget all about their fancy bathrooms with their bidets in it and take a dump in the woods. And it always cracks me up. But nonetheless, these are who are the guys who are coming on this trip. And what's cool is everyone comes with this student mindset where they really want to learn, they want to grow, they want to evolve, and they want to just like get some time to think and recalibrate. So that's kind of what happens in these mastermind circles. We do round robin style where everyone's pouring into one another based on certain prompts. We also talk about like what's the best thing you've done for your business, where's the biggest mistakes you've made, stuff like that. That really, I think that's some of our secret sauce. We have these amazing prompts that really spark conversation that can bring out, maybe discussion that you haven't had before. So that's really cool in terms of the business side. We've had $1 million deals get struck around the campfire. Actually, we had one $15 million deal get struck. We have, people workshopping their next big thing, the ideation phase of, their books or potentially, a new venture. And then personally, we've had guys who are thinking about having another child or going through, some issues with fertility. We've had guys going through divorce or separation and talking through that. We've had guys talking about death and grief and loss. It's a really powerful circle to process, especially with guys that are like-minded and heart-centered. And one of our core concepts at the Happy Hustle is reciprocal respect. Reciprocal respect meaning you will give respect and you will earn others respect. And another one of our core concepts is inspirational integrity, really doing what you say you're going to do, right? And then another one is outgoing optimism. So, choosing to look at the glass half full, rather than being a pessimist, we choose to be a optimist and outgoing at that. So I set the ground rules and kind of keep this container in that sense, flowing. But there is some parameters with these prompts, and guys really pour in. They dig into these discussions, and I mean, we've had guys share stuff they've never shared with anybody, and it's because that level of vulnerability is not only allowed but welcomed, and it's it's not judged, right? That's, I think, the most important part. So we're out there, we're mixing business with pleasure. In addition, we do bring an amazing primitive survival expert who can like actually teach you things that you probably need to know as a man. Specifically, we have some awesome survival guys that I use. Hazen Odell, he has a show on Disney Plus and called Primal Survivor, Nat Geo's #1 like hit show, like running 10 years. He's basically the goat of survival. If you've not heard of him, you should definitely check out his show. We also bring Corey Hawk. Guy was on Alone, season 7, $1 Million Challenge. He also won the Mountain Man, the Ultimate Marksman, as the best archer to ever compete, U.S. Marine. We've had some amazing survival guys come out, but each one of them teaches, a set of skills, bow drill fires, how to like make fire without anything but, basically your hands and nature and what's provided. Primitive A-frame shelters, how to keep yourself warm and dry in the case of emergency. uh, water purification techniques and making sure that you don't get parasites and that you're drinking enough water and staying hydrated. Plant identification, edible, mushrooms and plants, and a lot of the botany is it's dense material, but it's really important stuff to know. We also go through snaring small game, how you could hunt essentially, and we do archery competition as well. So there's a lot packed in there when it comes to primitive survival, but it's not a survival event per se. It's just we like to layer that in because we're learning and growing and evolving in many different forms. In addition, we also teach you fly fishing, the masterful art of fly fishing. It is literally one of the most meditative things that you can do as a high performer. If you have not fly fished, I highly recommend it because it's active and it's just a stunning way to quiet the mind. And as my friend Jeff Ditzwer says, trout don't live in ugly places. So typically you're in a beautiful place when it comes to fly fishing. So we teach everyone how to fly fish. We get them high performance rod reel combo kits from Pescador on the Fly. It's got all this amazing gear, like everything you need to fly fish, all in one, and you get to take it home. We also give you a survival kit where there's a lot of the survival gear, ferro rods and saws and knives and stuff like that. So you have these assets that you can utilize and teach your children and really learn, by doing, and then take it back and teach others as well. That's really how you can make the lesson stick. So you're learning fly fishing, you're learning survival skills. We're business masterminding. In addition, we bring a professional backcountry chef cooking up delicious and nutritious food throughout the entire experience. We're eating like wilderness kings, which is rare. If you've been on backpacking trips, typically it's like dehydrated, very lightweight food. Not on this. We're eating really good. And some guys have even been known to gain a pound or two on the trip. So that's always funny. So now we're talking, the other elements to the mastermind that I really think make it this once in a lifetime experience, as I've been told. And it is layering primitive workouts, a lot of really cool body weight stuff that we kickstart the morning with, cold plunges in the alpine lakes a couple of times a day to not only keep us clean but just rejuvenate the soul, and grounding ourselves in mother nature, barefoot out there in nature's glory. We also do breath work, meditations, tai chi, and really these like centering exercises. Then we're doing journaling and visioneering and stuff like that. And then what's also really cool is I go through the happy hustle. The 10 alignments to being a happy hustler, our soul mapping framework, aka the chapters in my book, and we get into all of that stuff. So there's a lot there. We then come back to Bozeman. We hike out on Saturday. We, have a little fun downtown, have a couple beers, cigars, go out to dinner, and then we end up at the hot spring soaking our weary bones. Everyone, we stay in cabins on that last night. And, it's really nice to get that natural thermal water to just rejuvenate, your weary body after, putting in work on the hike and being out there. We do a lot more stuff when we're out there, but that's our kind of secret sauce that I don't want to divulge too much. And then on Sunday, we mastermind. We have action tasks that we actually go back and implement. So it's not just like a one and done mastermind. You're meeting on the front end, you're meeting on the back end. We really make sure that stuff is getting implemented into your reality. So it's not just this awesome experience in the woods, but then you come back and you're actually doing what you said you're going to do. And there's consequences if you don't. So everyone takes off on Sunday, and that is essentially the Montana Mastermind Epic Camping Adventure. We also then have the Happy Hustle Club, which a lot of guys end up joining to keep in touch. And, the Happy Hustle Club is our annual membership program. You get to come on 2 of the masterminds each year as a part of your membership. We also do bi-weekly meetings, guest guru trainings. I have office hours available. We have all sorts of really cool cash gamified accountability, lots of cool stuff inside the Happy Hustle Club. But anyway, that is the Montana Mastermind. And it's really for people who want to mix business with pleasure, digitally detox in nature, and actually recalibrate their soul. So especially if you've been running hot in your business, you're feeling like you're on the brink of burnout. Maybe, personally, stuff's going awry in your family or with your marriage. this could be that reset you need to get clarity for the next step and to become the best version of yourself. As we say, if you want a 10, you got to be a 10. So if you want a 10 partner, you got to be a 10 person yourself. And we talk about this stuff. So it's a safe container for, you know, high performing male heart centered entrepreneurs to come together and have a blast and put the happy in their hustle. So if you're interested, again, you can apply at thehappyhustle.com/mastermind. You can check out the page. There's all sorts of FAQs and stuff there. Watch the videos, learn more. But I definitely say, you know, this isn't for everybody. It's not, we don't have a women's one. We've been asked a lot. We might do a couples one soon. But right now it's for men, and it's not for W-2 employees. It's for people who are in the arena, getting after it, building their businesses, and know what it takes, and know the risk, and know the pain and the struggle and the suffering, and we come together, and that's our through line. And yeah, it's sometimes difficult to find that tribe. So if you're feeling the pull, yeah, apply and see if it's a fit. And if not, and you want to do your own events, that's some of the itinerary and the framework and some of the stuff that we do that maybe you can implement for your own stuff. So hope this was valuable regardless. I'm so grateful for you even watching. And yeah, I hope you go out there into the woods and just get some time in nature. It really has a way of quieting the mind and rejuvenating the soul. So that's my call to action for you. All right, y'all, I'm out. Peace and love, everyone. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson openly shares about his struggles with depression, and his vulnerability allows him to connect deeper with his fans. What's up, y'all? My name is Cary Jack, and I want to share with you about embracing masculine vulnerability today and how it can truly unlock strength and connection. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, author, and founder of The Happy Hustle and top 0.5% globally ranked podcast host. And I also host something called the Montana Mastermind Epic Camping Adventure, where we take high-performing male heart-centered entrepreneurs deep into the backcountry wilderness, where we mix business with pleasure and digitally detox in nature's glory. And what's cool about this experience is it creates a container that is so safe, where guys can be raw, real, and vulnerable. And really, I am so shocked every time how much men need a container like this that's safe, that they can be their authentic selves. So I want to share with you how you can actually embrace masculine vulnerability. For all my fellas out there, this one is definitely for you. But if you're not, necessarily a male, but also a female who is more alpha, this could be for you too, where you just really embrace the vulnerability of the feminine divine, will you? But before we get into that, I want to share a quote with you from vulnerability expert Miss Brene Brown. And she says, vulnerability is not about winning or losing. It's about having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. So today we're going to talk about vulnerability. I know it's a little tough of a topic, but it's important when it comes to happy hustling, that systematic harmonization of ambition and well-being. The well-being part is all about being real, being yourself, being loved and lovable, and giving love. And that's why I'm going to talk about this. So I know it might seem a little off, but stick with me. I'm telling you, this would be beneficial for you. All right. So let's just define vulnerability first and foremost. It's all about being open and honest about our feelings, fears, and insecurities. See, many people think that vulnerability is a sign of weakness, but in reality, it's actually a sign of strength, and it takes immense courage to be vulnerable. If you are a male, especially who has a business you run, a family, a wife, or a lot of responsibilities, you feel pressure to hold it all together and not show this weakness, not be vulnerable, not communicate openly your fears and insecurities. And sometimes we just suppress it, and truly that's just not healthy. That's not happy hustling. We need to be honest about where we're at so we can seek support. So a little context here, traditionally men have been taught to suppress their emotions and man up. I know my father was all about, if it's not bleeding, I don't want to hear about it. And if it is, go tell your mother. So, for me, I grew up like men don't cry, kind of getting that old school, ethos, will you? And these outdated norms can be detrimental to mental health. So, changing the perspective, I think it's more important now that we look to embracing vulnerability and redefining masculinity at large. I'm not saying we have to be soft, nor should we be soft. However, I am saying, we should be able to communicate our emotions and have people that we can be our authentic selves with. So that's why, this Montana Mastermind Epic Camping Adventure is so unique, is because we're in the wilderness. There's no cell phone service. There's no distractions. There's no screens. We actually take everyone's phones. We're together for 5 straight days. I mean, we're eating together. We're sleeping in tents next to each other. We're taking a dump in the woods. You really get to know someone out there. It's like not a transactional business conference. You're really getting to know someone. And guys are crying, guys are releasing their heavy emotions, their this pent up frustration, personally and professionally. And we get into, the depths of what might be holding them back. My buddy Kaysen, who was on the recent Montana Mastermind, said, you know, you either work on state or strategy typically at masterminds. And although we worked on both state and strategy, you have to fix state, like your physical and mental and emotional state, before you can work on strategy. And so that's why I think it's important to embrace this vulnerability. Take an honest barometer, will you? A metric of where you're at right now. And then you can overcome it by having support and seeking advice. All right. So let me just kind of talk about how this can reduce some of the mental stress and anxiety. There's benefits around this, as well as, emotional resilience, but just being open about your feelings can alleviate a lot of pressure. You know, a lot of people maintain these facades and wear masks, and this is a really great way to overcome that by just, again, being real. Vulnerability also helps build emotional resilience, making it easier to cope with challenges. So, if you are in a challenging state and you're being able to be real with yourself and others, you can, have resilience from that, knowing that you're being in 100% in authenticity. You also can build much deeper connections because authenticity fosters trust and deepens these relationships both personally and professionally. Also, you'll gain empathy and understanding when you're more vulnerable, sharing your struggles and inviting others to do the same. You become this safe space where you can listen and learn from others. And then also enhance personal growth. Increasing that self-awareness. Being vulnerable leads to greater self-awareness and personal growth. Definitely, every time I share and real and raw, I learn and I grow, and I also get to learn from other people's and their adversities and how they've handled it. But I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't know what they were going through, and vice versa. And then authentic leadership is really one of the most powerful takeaways, because when you are vulnerable, you breed this authentic leadership style that really inspires others to be open and honest. So these are some of the benefits of embracing vulnerability. Now I want to talk about just some practical steps to actually embracing it, because I like to get tactical on these podcasts, not just like talking whimsical theory. Oh, vulnerability is nice. I get it. It's tough, as men especially. So let me just give you the steps, okay? One, start small. Share minor insecurities. Begin by sharing small insecurities with trusted friends or family. That's just a nice little jumping off point. Then you want to practice active listening. Listen to others' vulnerabilities so that you can create a safe space for mutual sharing, right? Then you want to seek support, therapy, counselors, stuff like that. That stuff is really helpful to just embrace your masculine vulnerability. Consider professional help to navigate your emotions and, build vulnerability in that sense. Also, support groups like joining men's groups or women's groups, communities with openness. That is, really powerful. And also when it's encouraged to be vulnerable. Specifically, like I always do my best to be vulnerable first so that I can open the container and let people know it's safe. Obviously you want to share scars, not wounds. That's one of a rule of thumb when it comes time to go in public. Scars, not wounds. Let that heal. But when you're in a private setting where you're being surrounded by safe spaces and safe people, you can share those wounds to hopefully turn them into scars. And then communicate openly, having honest conversations with loved ones about your feelings and fears. This is huge. And then expressing gratitude, showing appreciation for others' vulnerability to reinforce positive behavior. These are just some of the steps. So start small, seek support, and then communicating openly. Those are just 3 practical steps to embracing vulnerability. All right. So that's pretty much the topic that I wanted to cover, just covering this in a sense that, gives you permission to be your authentic, real, raw self. The key points here is just embrace it, take action towards getting a support group, finding a container that you can really be yourself and get help. I think this is going to just create such a better experience.